Hi, my name is Rosie, and I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota. I did not know at the time, but from the very beginning of my education, I was fortunate. I went to a non-traditional Quaker school that valued peace, community, love, diversity, and most importantly, students as more than just students, as whole beings. Jump ahead to middle and high school, and I quickly realized how lucky I was to have had the elementary education I did. Now every day is the same. Wake up too early and go to school. Be quiet, don't question your teachers, and do your assignments. I was not happy with my life. I was not satisfied with my education, so I sought a way to change my life for the better. I did not know it until now, but I think I was looking for a place that resembled my elementary school, and I ended up at CSG. It is week 3, and there are waves of emotion built up behind my eyes, but all that comes out is water. There are words I want to say, emotions I want to share, love I want to show, but I just didn't know. Fast forward to the 14th week. Abby and Grace and Audrey, they sing and I cry, but why? Oh, I'm sure gonna miss them when we're gone. Molly and I watch Friends while she does my dreads after lunch. Kelly and I crawl through the grass on a high-speed chase, and I realize this may never happen again. We are still having firsts, but beginning our lasts. First rally, first tie-dye, first late-night bathroom talk, last goodnight big bunk room, I love you all, last closing circle, last hugs, last breakfast of granola. The decorations will come down, and the bunks will look as they did when we arrived 4 months ago. The walls will be bare, but the walls remember. The air, it will be different. The air in February had love, but this love knows. This June air is strong and wise, full of our creativity and wisdom, our tears and hugs, our cuddle puddles and our laundry strewn about the room, our songs and our laughs. This saturated air will remain in the farmhouse, but maybe we will each carry some of it with us, always in our lungs, yes. I will store a little pocket of this magical air within me, and I will breathe it deep into my soul when I need strength. The first night I spend by myself in Minnesota, in my own bedroom with a door for privacy and everything, I will call on this air. The first day of junior year, when I so wish to be in the yurt instead of a windowless cinder block room, I will breathe this air. When I miss my friends, sisters, teachers, and mentors, I will breathe this air. When I wake up sad in the middle of the night because I miss being woken up by Rishka rolling over, I will suck this air all the way through my body down to my toes. When I feel weak, I will breathe this air and remember that I am strong. When I feel lonely, I will breathe this air and remember that I am loved unconditionally by 18 beautiful women who were no more than strangers 16 weeks ago. When I feel like crying in a room full of people, I will breathe this air and remember what it felt like to actually be able to do that. When I can't sleep because I want a goodnight hug from Laura, I will breathe this air and my cells will remember what that felt like for me. When I catch myself judging people on their appearance, I will breathe the air of February 16th and remember that I came to love these girls as my sisters because of who they are and not how they look. Life at CSG is magical, but it is not perfect like a fairy tale. There were times when I was mad and there were times when I was sad. There were times when I wanted nothing to do with some of the people here. There were times when I doubted that CSG was where I was meant to be. Back in Minnesota, life was different. If I was annoyed with a classmate, I would hold it in, I would ignore them. At 2 o'clock, I would go home and I would have my own space, but at CSG, that is not an option. At CSG, we have barely enough room to breathe. At times, it feels like we are circulating the same oxygen, inhaling each other's exhales. So I adapted. I learned to address issues in respectful and productive ways. I learned to communicate what I was feeling, because it is crazy to expect people to know things you haven't told them. I know I learned more than I am even aware of from my experiences in the little yellow farmhouse. From Abby, I learned to love someone who comes from a completely different culture than the one I am from, and I can't say I ever thought I would have a sister from Texas. From Rishka, I learned that you do not need to be loud and outspoken to be a powerful leader. From Andrea, I I learned to be endlessly optimistic and that no amount of laughter is too much laughter. From Layla, I learned to question the injustices in the world. From Bunny, I learned what it means to be a selfless, loyal friend. From Emma, I've learned unending kindness. From Mariah, I've learned what it means to master the combination of tranquility and sass. From Riley, I learned to stay true to what I believe, even if it differs from others. From Juniper, I have learned perseverance. From Mary, I learned that yes, it is possible to be incredibly insightful one moment and then be dancing around the farmhouse pretending to be a fairy the next. From Grace, I saw someone who was incredibly articulate, who I wanted to be like. From Sophie, I learned to love unconditionally. From Louisa, I've learned what it means to be a badass in the front and back country. From Audrey, I learned the value of knowing what I think before I speak. From Molly, I have learned that everything, even cleaning, can be fun, depending on one's attitude. From Kelly, I learned to be laid back, to go with the flow. From Kate, I was amazed daily by her compassion, love, and understanding. From Laura, I learned what I want to be like in 7 years. From all of them, I learned to be myself. From all of them, I gained a family. After graduation, we will be dispersed throughout the country, but our love will only grow. Most of all, I learned that by living my life with intention, I am already changing the world. Now it is simply a matter of how widespread that change will be. When I first heard that CSG really starts on graduation day, I didn't understand, but I think maybe now I do. When I return to St. Paul, I get to apply everything I have learned over these past 16 weeks. I was already a thoughtful leader before CSG, but I have become better. I was already passionate about education before CSG, but I have discovered why. The first time I realized how important teachers are was in 8th grade. I was having hard times and I had a geography teacher who did the smallest things that made the hugest difference. He would tap me on the shoulder and say, "Keep your head up, kiddo," or he would bring me out into the hallway when he could see I was about to cry. Geography quickly became my favorite class, and it was not because of what I was learning. It was because I felt cared for and supported in that class. I've experienced things that don't work, and I've experienced things that have. I have learned surrounded by walls that remember, and I have learned surrounded by walls that easily forget. I have breathed magical, saturated air, and I have breathed air that is dull and thin. Now I want to build these walls and breathe this air for every child. That is the change I intend to make in the world. I know that is no easy task. I know I will face failure after failure. But I know that I am prepared to be strong and to persevere. When I was unhappy about the way something was at CSG, I was able to speak up and change the situation for the better. Because of this experience, I feel empowered and confident in my ability to influence my education in the future. I know that my experiences at CSG have prepared me to take on whatever challenge I set my mind on, because here I have had failures. I failed a test, I failed my sisters, I failed myself, but even when I failed, I was still supported, I was still loved, and I was still me. I have come back from those failures with a lesson learned, a stronger sense of what I believe in, who I am, and what is important to me. When people question the ability of teenage girls to change the world, I will close my eyes and picture CSG, take 15 deep breaths, and laugh. If they'd only met semester 11, they would know there is nobody better equipped to change the world than the 15 of us. To close out, I would like to share a song. I first came into contact with this musician and this song last spring at the coming of age ceremony at my church back in St. Paul. The song's lyrics spoke to me from the beginning, and it had a special place in my heart because every time I heard it, I was reminded of the powerful and loving community that I am a part of at my church. Since I first heard this song over a year ago, it has become ingrained in my life. When I was uncertain that being at CSG was where I was meant to be, this song validated that it was. The first night I cried at CSG, I listened to this song as I fell asleep. When I was finally comfortable enough to share my voice with my sisters, I sang this song as we went to bed one night. On coastal expedition, I sang this song many times. Every time we were experiencing something particularly beautiful, the cliffs on the bold coast, the sunrise on the last morning of expedition on Hurricane Island, the wind blowing through our hair as we took the ferry back to civilization, I sang this song. It seemed logical to me to link beautiful song with beautiful experience, and it feels fitting to share my voice and this song now as CSG comes to a close. It encompasses so much of what I've learned and how I've grown, and for me it validates that CSG is where I was meant to be these past 4 months. So here is the song Right on Time by musician Ellis. I wish for you to be free from doubt. When you feel left behind or left out, when the world seems brighter everywhere else, and your mind is lost inside a wishing well. Right on time, you are right on time, you're right on time. Remember, the heart is a tender thing, restless and hopeful, it cries and sings. Sometimes you need shelter and a space to be a little tough, not tough enough, a little lost at sea. And when everyone is racing and you join in, if you can, try running with a smile, 'cause there is a danger in going too fast. Getting too far ahead can set you back. Right on time, you are right on time, you're right on time. And when you're tired and on your own, cried so many tears, they're all gone. When there's nothing you haven't tried to fix this uncertain road. When everywhere you look you see regret, caught up in the past and what might have been. What we can never know will make our heads spin. A little love, a little trust, a lot of forgiveness. Right on time, you are right on time, you're right on time. What if we're right on time, we're right on time, we're right on time. Thank you.